All right, so we're going to go ahead and continue on now with lesson 7.1, okay? And what we're going to look at on this second part of 7.1 is we're going to be looking at what happens when I've got the exponents I have to drop in. Same thing here, drop them in, but then I also have to multiply. So we're going to look at how to attack when we have both situations in the same problem. All right, so what we're going to do here is you want to attack them separately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first guy first. So I'm going to drop that 2 in. And then I'm going to do this part, okay? And then once I get the red and the blue sections done, I'm going to combine it all together. So on the first section here, I'm going to put that 2 into all 3 parts. So I'm going to get 16 x to the 4th y squared. All right, so now keep in mind when you have the exponent to exponent, we're going to go ahead and multiply that and call it a 6. And then we're going to drop that 6 in, okay? All right, so when I drop the 6 in, negative 3 to the 6, because it's an even exponent, I'm going to get a positive number of 729, and then I'm going to get y to the 6th. Okay, now that I've done that, now I'm going to put all of those guys together. So I'm going to take 16 times the 729 and get 11,664 x to the 4th, y to the 8th. And that's going to be your final answer. Okay, so keep in mind, when you're dropping it in, that's multiplication. And then when it's side by side, you're going to add. Okay? All right, let's go to the second example here. All right, now, fractions, no worries. All right, again, we're going to do the first part, and then we're going to do the second part. Okay? So I'm going to drop that 3 in, and remember, I'm going to drop it in the top and call it 1, and I'm going to drop it into the 2. 2 to the 3rd is 8. And now I'm going to drop it into my my variables, and I'm going to get a to the 6th, b to the 6th. Okay, now I'm going to do the blue section here, and I'm going to drop that 2 in. And since it's even, I know I'm going to get a positive answer. 4 squared is 16, b to the 2nd. All right, and then just kind of keep in mind, now I'm going to put these together off to the side here. 1/8 times 16. Remember, that's going to go to a 1 and a 2. Cross cancel that. So I get 2, a to the 6th. And then add up your b's. 6 plus 2 is 8. Okay, so review one more time. When you drop it in, that's multiplying. And then when you're putting them side by side, you're going to add them up. All right, the other part we're going to look at is what happens when we have some shapes. If you don't know how to find the area of an object, you do need to look that up. Okay, so look up your formulas. So in this case, I'm going to have the area of a circle, which is pi r squared. Now, we're going to leave pi in there so we have an exact answer. Okay, so don't change to 3.14 or anything like that. My radius for this problem is 2x y to the 3rd, and that's all squared because it says right here that radius has to be squared. So here's my radius squared. All right, so now I'm going to drop that 2 in. So I'm going to leave the pi out front and get 4 x squared y to the 6th. All right, and when we don't know anything, it's not labeled centimeters or inches, we're going to call it units squared for right now. Okay, so this will be my final answer. Again, leave pi in your problems, and when we drop it in, that's multiplication. All right, so now we're going to look at what happens when I have a triangle. Okay, again, you need to look up your formulas if you don't know them. So I'm going to have area equals 1/2 base times height. So I've got 1/2. My base, okay, so keep in mind this is your base, this is your height. So you get 3 c to the 3rd, d to the 5th. And we're going to multiply that. Let me scooch this over just a little bit. Times your height, which is 5c squared d. Okay, now with this 1/2, I'm going to go ahead and wait and do him later. What I'm going to do is focus on these guys first, and then I'll worry about the fraction. So I'm going to have 1/2. 3 times 5 is 15. C to the 5th and d to the 6th. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and put this together. So 1/2 of 15. Okay, you can represent it a couple of different ways. You can call it just 15 halves. So you could just put 15 halves, c to the 5th, d to the 6th. Or if you'd prefer to do decimal, you could put 7.5, c to the 5th, d to the 6th. Now again, it's area. So it's going to be units squared. So I would take either one of those answers. If you wanted to also call it just like 7 1/2, that would be fine as well. Okay? All right, and the last one, find the volume. Okay, so volume of a box. We're going to have length times width times height. So we're basically just going to multiply these all up. Okay? So volume equals, I've got x to the 4th, 5x to the 3rd, and 6x squared. Okay? So I'm going to multiply again the 5 and the 6. Remember there's a 1 here in front, but that doesn't change the value. So 5 times 6 is 30. And since they're side by side here, I'm going to add these exponents. So 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24. So x to the 24th. Again, we don't have any units, so we're going to call it units. And since it's volume, it's cubed. And that would be your final answer here. Okay? All right, so if you have problems that you need to complete, you need to go ahead and do that. If not, this concludes the second video for Lesson 7-1.